What's up, guys? I'm doing a short video on reviewing the Shopbox M1049. I bought this one off GrizzlyIndustrial.com. The reason why I'm doing this review is because I have not seen anybody review this type of machine. One thing I will tell you, and I think there's like only a couple $100 price difference, but there's the Grizzly G4000, I think it is. It's pretty much the exact same machine with a different color painted. I guess Grizzly, got the machine and painted it, their color or whatever. But I think it's a couple $100 difference in price. I think after shipping and freight, I paid like $2,200 for this one. But anyway, the pros and cons of this machine have been, this machine has been probably one of the best mini lathes I've ever used. You can cut any material all the way up to stainless and well, of course, hardened steel with a tool post grinder or something like that. But aluminum and brass and all these other soft materials and like plastic and stuff, you can cut that easily. It doesn't have a reverse feed, and it doesn't have a power cross feed. That's the only downside. So if you're gonna, you can traverse straight forward like this, but if you're trying to do like on a traditional big lathe, if you're trying to stop it and then back it out the same, like power feed out with the spindle still spinning the same way, you can't do that. You have to reverse the spindle. So that's the only downside. And the biggest thing I haven't liked about it, the thread dial is not very accurate. At least I haven't been able to get it to be completely accurate. Like it'll be like a one or 1.5 threads off every time you try to line it up. Like it doesn't matter. I've tried metric and standard threads every time I do it. So I just been sticking to using a tap and die set every time I want to make a thread or a screw or something. But other than that, the tailstock is one of my biggest issues. Now, I added this quick attach, it's a quick lock mechanism to it, which is actually not designed for this type of tailstock. So you have to check with the littlemachineshop.com is where I bought it. But it actually doesn't fit this type. I had to actually drill a hole through it, a 1/2-inch hole through the center to get this to work. But my only problem with it is it doesn't clamp tight enough. It'll clamp tight enough to do like real soft material. But if you're trying to do something hard, you pretty much have to have some kind of clamp or wedge or something behind it because it's going to keep pushing out. But other than that, like if you're trying to use it as a regular tailstock with a live center or something, it works perfectly fine. And I definitely recommend, one of the first things I did was replace the cross feed or the tool post or whatever to a quick change tool post. And I'm trying to find it. Well, I don't have it right here. I think I threw it away. But anyway, the original one that came on here is real flimsy. It only has 2 bolts holding it down to this saddle or whatever. And it has a lot of play in it. I mean, it doesn't matter how tight you tighten it, it won't stay. It'll just constantly, especially if you're doing like heavy cuts or something, it'll constantly work its way loose. And there's a couple solutions to that. There's I can't remember you have to look it up for like a compound rest clamp. They sell one on littlemachineshop.com, but it's like 70 or 80 bucks just for a piece that's pretty easily machined if you have the right machinery to do it. But anyway, I just went ahead and bought a whole new tool post. This is actually made for an Atlas 10-inch lathe that I retrofitted for this one, but it works perfectly. I mean, I had to change a few things to it, and of course the center post right here is not made for this AXA type tool holder, so I had to drill the hole out and then I welded it. Of course, it's a cast material, which I know is probably not going to last very long, but I can probably get it to last a while and then maybe I mean, ideally you would, you know, drill and tap it or whatever, but I didn't have the right size tap, and I didn't feel like having to go find the right size bolt to drill and tap it. So I just went ahead and welded it, but it's held up so far. I've had it for a couple months, this cross feed, but I've had this lathe like 7 months now, and it's held up relatively well. Like I've used it a lot, making very small parts, and I've actually made detents down to 80 thousandths or 100 thousandths diameter, like, you know, really tiny stuff. It's which, you know, unless you got a Swiss machine or something like that, it's really difficult to, if you're a machinist, you know, you already know how difficult it is to make something so small on a traditional lathe without it warping or bending or something. But I did make this guide rod right here, and it's actually the same all the way down. You would think it would bend or whatever, but I made a tool post grinder for it out of a grinder, and because I haven't had the money to buy a real tool post grinder. But anyway, a later video I'll demonstrate it when I got to fix a Beretta pistol, and I was going to do a video on it. But anyway, this is hardened down. This is I think S7 tool steel. But anyway, I turned it down all the way to, I think it's about 220 thousandths, or a little bit smaller than a quarter. And you know, the material was like probably 8 or 9 inches long, so it was, and I had it sticking out this far. Well, you know, I cut off a full rod or whatever. Well, when you get down to that small or whatever, and you're trying to cut it traditionally or whatever, you know, it's going to start bending in the middle unless you have a follower rest. Well, this thing comes with a follower rest, but I didn't realize it. It's only got the brass tips on it, so it doesn't hold it as well as like something with ball bearings or something like that. And this thing also has it came with a steady rest, but I haven't upgraded it to the ball bearing kind yet. That's the only downside that I've seen to it, because I mean, it works like that. It's just not ideal. It's that and the adjustability of it takes a while to get it to set up correctly. A lot longer than a traditional, like, you know, more high-end steady rest. But anyway, I'm gonna continue to post videos, and I'm making stuff at night anyway, so I figured I might as well just document a lot of it. But if anyone has any questions, just comment or inbox me or something. But if you're looking to buy this lathe or that G4000 Grizzly lathe, I would definitely recommend it to get started. And oh, one more thing, the change gears on this thing are really simple, and it's really simple to operate. You know, to switch out the main gears, I think it's like this 30 tooth and 40 tooth, or 36 and 60. One of these two. It's just a small gear right here, and these two big ones or whatever, the main ones you'll be changing out. And then the only downside to this one, because Grizzly I think sells a step up from this one, but it's got an automatic change gear, and it's got a accelerometer on it, so where you can adjust the RPM manually. This one is a belt drive, so you have to, you know, stop it and then change the belt to whatever speed you want. That's the only downside I've seen to it, but you know, it's only like a couple minutes or less to change it over. And with me, I haven't been able to get it to thread correctly, so I haven't even been really messing with the gears. But it does come with a full gear set to where you can do all metric and all standard threads. Now, if somebody can get the thread dial to work correctly, you know, that'd be awesome. I may be doing it wrong, but you know, everyone I've ever messed with would be solid every time you hit the lever, but this one like tends to want to jump threads every time. So anyway, y'all have a good night.